Hey everyone, Caseyscanlon here. Going to bring you another Lake of the Ozarks fishing report. It's October now. Been a while since we did our last report, but the Big Bass Bash is coming up this weekend and somebody is going to win $100,000. It's the biggest tournament that the lake has all year long. There's going to be a ton of participants in that tournament and a lot of good prizes given away for big fish all throughout the weekend. So if you're not in that tournament, sign up for it. It's a good chance to get in there for a couple $100 and have a shot at $100,000. You don't get to do that very often. And really it's a big fish derby, so it's kind of luck of the draw. So fishing's been tough here at the lake overall, but there's been a lot of big fish showing up. So I'm gonna give you guys a rundown of a few of the things that are happening, a few of the things that are going on here at the lake, and how I think this tournament will be won. So first of all, we've got some warm weather coming this weekend, and it was warm out today. It's starting to feel like fall though. We're getting to those cool mornings, which is helping out. Shad are on the move. They're starting to kind of move back into these coves, but still a lot of fish in the summer patterns out on the main lake, around deeper docks, brush piles, structure. So a lot of fish schooling actually still. So it still feels like summer a little bit. So the lake's gonna spread out well. You'll be able to fish from the main lake all the way to the backs of the creeks and have some success. So I expect early in the morning to be most productive. As the sun gets up, the bite's gonna get a little bit slower, but these guys are gonna catch them this weekend here. They always do. It always impresses me the amount of 4 and 5 pound fish that are weighed in throughout the weekend, and every single hour it takes at least a 4 pounder usually to get a check. So the lake is really impressive. It's really healthy right now, and this year should be no different. You guys should see a lot of big fish. So a jig first and foremost. I've got 2 of them in my hand. This is my Trophy Bass Company Pro Jig. I like it because it's a really versatile jig. You can skip it. It stands upright on the bottom, so you can fish it around structure really well. It goes through brush. But get a jig in your hand. Overall, it's a really versatile bait no matter what brand you choose. Get a craw trailer, green pumpkin, or black and blue. Just depends on your water clarity. If you're going up into the dirtier sections of the lake, maybe some of these creek arms or river arms, maybe try that black and blue, something a little darker profile, especially like in the mornings when you got low light. That really shows up well, and you can catch a lot of fish on that. But that's my number one go-to here at the lake all year round is a jig. So I start out with like a 1/2 ounce, and I'll fish up to 3/4 or a 1 ounce jig. But I like to start around that 1/2 ounce size this time of year especially. So that's going to be a staple. Going to have a lot of fish caught on it. We went out on a guide trip today, and we threw a lot of finesse stuff. My clients were throwing a lot of spinning rods. It was a calm, slick day, and those fish, really liked the finesse style baits. So Bass Pro Shop Sticko. We were throwing it on a wacky rig, but you can throw it on a Texas rig, a shaky head. This is gonna get bites, and it catches really big fish. I've actually caught my biggest fish ever on this in Florida, and black with blue tail was the color, but 5 3/8 inch Sticko from Bass Pro Shops. You get 30 of them for like $10 or something. So you can't beat the deal, and you can't beat the bait. It's my favorite, I guess you would say, soft stick bait style bait. It's just really a good one. Whether you're fishing on a wacky rig or I would also try it on a shaky head, just a little jig head with the screw lock, something to get it down on the bottom. But there's a lot of suspended fish, so that wacky rig's working. Spinner bait down the side of docks is working. You can throw, again, the spinner bait you can throw anywhere. You can throw it shallow around docks. You can throw it around deep docks. You can throw it around visible cover like wood or rocks or seawalls, boat ramps, anything like that, and it gets bites, and it catches big ones. So this is a big bass tournament. You're going for big fish. Definitely try out this spinner bait. I've been throwing my 1/2 ounce Trophy Bass Company Ozark Flash spinnerbait. 3/4 will work as well. But I'm just throwing it in a standard white color, and it's been producing. But white and chartreuse, my two favorite colors, really the two that I throw most often, most of the time. I mean, if I'm throwing a spinnerbait, there's a good chance it's one of those two colors. Also, square bill, run it down shallow cover, down the side of docks. This is a smaller square bill, and a lot of the bait is really small, especially the bait out deeper. Some of the bait that's shallower up on the banks, up on the rocks, are those gizzard shad, and that's kind of what you want to see. The big fish like big bait, but there's a lot of big fish still hanging around dock ends, things like that. You can catch them with the jig, the spinnerbait, the crankbait. Those are all great tools. Just keep it in the strike zone, bounce it off the crossbars, keep that bait in the shade, and try to draw a reaction bite. You can swim that jig, you can fish it on the bottom. A couple really versatile ways to fish a variety of depth ranges around those docks and get bites. So a lot of the fish are going to be suspended under the docks right now. So no matter if that dock's in 50 foot or in 2 foot, the chances are those fish are sitting up a little higher in the water column. A topwater, a lot of fish feeding on the surface. Saw some fish schooling. So, anything from like a fluke to a walking bait, a popar. Up around the banks, I'm gonna opt for more like a buzz bait like I got here. I really like black with gold blade. White in color. You don't have to get real complicated. Black or white and you're golden. You can get on the banks and just cover some water with that. You're gonna catch a few big fish on the weekend, guaranteed. It's not quite there as far as being prime time topwater season, but the bites are starting to come, starting to see a few fish on the topwater, and it's always a good way to pick up a big fish. So buzz baits, ploppers, things like that around the bank. And then, when you're in the backs of creeks, on points, more open water, corners of boat docks, I like more of the spook or walking style bait, popar, something like that. Seems to do a little better than a buzz bait where you're constantly retrieving that bait to the boat. So topwater is definitely going to produce a few fish this weekend. Soft plastics, of course, you got brush hogs, your beaver style baits. Pick your favorite soft plastics and fish them around docks, visible cover, brush piles, points, both in the creeks and on the main lake. I'm really not lying to you when I tell you that the lake's gonna spread out good. There's fish all the way from the fronts of the creeks to the back. You wanna get around the shad. Of course, that's not real hard to do here at the Lake of the Ozarks. We have a big shad population, but you wanna make sure that you're fishing around shad because there are places where they are not. And chances are there's more bass where there's more bait. So get around the bait, you'll be around the fish. I expect early in the mornings to be prime time and in the afternoons to catch those bigger than average fish that are kind of just roaming the bank. So get up there early with the topwater or maybe even a big swim bait. This is a new bait from Bass Pro Shops. Super affordable. The XPS glide bait will get some big bites. I don't think we're gonna have the conditions this weekend for those really big baits like that to be crazy productive, but there's always a chance. This is a big bass bash. You're going for $100,000. So, pull out the big baits, make sure you got big, heavy rod, big line, and you're ready for that bite if you get it. So I'm using Bass Pro Shops 20-pound XPS fluorocarbon on almost all of my rods and reels here at the lake. If I'm fishing a topwater, I'm using braided line most of the time, anywhere from a 50 to 65 pound Bass Pro Shops braided line. And then when I'm flipping into boat docks, I'm using 25-pound test line. If it's a shallow dock, I'm making short casts, and there's a lot of heavy cover around, laydowns, things like that, behind cables. I really want that 25-pound line, and especially if I'm going for $100,000 and trying to catch a big fish, I'm going to use the biggest line that I think I can get away with. So soft plastics, jigs, I think are going to rule the weekend, especially with the conditions that we got. I think a topwater walking bait is going to be really good. And also I would throw, something like a buzz bait early in the mornings for an hour or so, try to get that big bite. But the playbook is wide open. I expect some fish to be caught out on the main lake, on points, ledges. Deep crankbait always produces a big fish here at the lake, especially if there's some wind. Heavy jigs out there. Your finesse baits, even a drop shot is capable of producing a giant. So you never know what that big fish is going to come on, and you never know where he's going to be at, especially in the fall when these fish are spread out. So keep an open mind. Be on the lookout for boats. Try to fish some areas that maybe haven't got as much pressure, even if it's not your favorite area. Even maybe you've never fished there before. Go to what you think looks good, maybe sets up right for the conditions. Trust your instincts, and good luck out there this weekend. I hope you guys catch a bunch of big fish. Somebody's going to win, and it'll be a life-changing event and a life-changing weekend for someone out there. So good luck to all you guys, and again, catch a big one.